Welcome to S.10 area and perimeter of similar figures. Okay, we've done so much similar figures this year that this should be relatively easy. There's only one new thing that I need to teach you, and that is this. If you are comparing perimeter, okay, I'm just gonna give you like these are sides, okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it real quick and then explain it to you. AB squared. Actually, I want to leave that off. This is basically the general rules of how you know everything that's going on in S10, and it's also going to come back and haunt you a little bit later as well. All right, so what it is you set up the ratio side to side, okay? So you see how it goes side to side? That's going to be your AB. And then perimeter over perimeter, perimeter over perimeter, same order. Remember, if you start here, you have to start here. The only difference now is when you get to area, it's no longer perimeter. Because your units in area are always like centimeters squared or feet squared or whatever they are, they're always squared. What you're going to do is you're going to square that. And what that means is you're going to do A squared and B squared. Whatever the sides are, you're going to square them. When it comes to volume, the volume is always cubed. The units are always cubed. So what you're going to do is you're just going to cube the sides. Okay. And then go from there. Okay, so I'm going to explain what this means. So looking at the first one, what are you dealing with? Perimeter. So perimeter is just going to be regular. So you go side to side. So I'm going to do 4 to 6. So 4 over 6 equals, and I'm going to do 24 to P. What does that look like? Yup, cross multiply. Go ahead and cross multiply. 4P is equal to 24 times 6, 144. Divide both sides by 4. P is equal to 36. So your answer is 36 centimeters. So again, when they ask for perimeter, it's just regular. If they ask for area, you're going to square it and then do the cross multiply. If they ask for volume, you're going to cube it and then do the cross multiply. All right, so let's do another example. Okay, so here we are again. This time they're dealing with area. What is the area of the smallest square? So remember, area, before we cross multiply, we're going to square it. So again, set up the ratio side to side. So you have 4 over 9. And this time you're going to square it. Equals area, same. If I started here, I have to start here. A1 over 81. So go ahead and square it. So what's 4 squared? 16 over what's 9 squared? 81 equals A1 over 81. Then simply go ahead and cross multiply. All right, so when you cross multiply, you get 81 times 16 is 1296 equals 81 A1 divided by 81. You're going to get A1 is equal to 16 divided by 81. A1 is 16. So again, just to remind you, when it's perimeter, you set it up just like normal, side to side, perimeter, perimeter. When it's area, before you cross multiply, you have to square it. When it's volume, you have to cube it. All right, so when you get to like 60s or whatever, it starts getting a little bit harder, but it's really not. It's just checking your understanding on area. Okay, so it's seeing, do you understand what's happening? So, for example, if a circle's radius is quadrupled, then how will the new circumference compare to the old circumference? So they're comparing circumference. So there's several ways you can do it, but I'll show you the algebra way, and then I'll show you what I think maybe you guys might find easier. Then that way you can choose whatever works for you. So we're dealing with circumference. So I'm always going to look for formulas. Area, none of the circumference there. Oh, look, circumference. And because I'm dealing with, am I dealing with D or R? I'll look at my problem. Oh, it looks like I'm dealing with R. So I'm going to pick the R one. C is 2 pi R. So C is equal to 2 pi R. So I know that this is the formula for circumference. I'm going to compare the new circumference. See this? New circumference to old. So I'm going to go new to old. Okay, so my old circumference in general terms is just 2 pi r, because whatever the radius is, it's just regular, 2 pi r. In my new one, I'm going to quadruple. And what does the word quadruple mean? It means 4 times as big. I'm going to quadruple the radius. So instead of it being 2 pi r, it's going to be 2 pi and then 4 times r. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this simple. 2 times 4r is, or 2 pi times 4r is, you just multiply the numbers, is 8 pi r equals 2 pi r. Okay, we can go ahead and simplify both sides. both sides have pi r in common. So if I divide pi r, as long as I divide it to the other side, I'm okay. But what you're going to notice is this r cancels with that, pi cancels with that, r cancels with that. Because if I did it to one thing, I have to do it all. So now I have 8 to 2. And I can go ahead and simplify that. Oh, I should put colons here, actually. Go ahead and simplify that. What goes into both 2 and 8? 2 goes into 2 one time. And it goes into 8 4 times. So it's 4 to 1. So the new circumference will be 4 times the old circumference. Because here's new and there's old. New to old. Okay. So every question is going to be different. Now, if that seemed a little confusing, see if you prefer this. So let's try this. Again, it's still new to old. Make up a number for r. So they don't tell you what the radius is. Make up a number. I'm going to, since obviously I can't hear you, I'm going to pick a number for you. Okay, so let's say 4. Okay, let's say r is 4. Doesn't matter. We know the circumference is 2 pi r. So when r is 4, all right, 2 times pi times r. So circumference is 2 times pi, and I'll even put 3.14 just to make it just numbers, times 4. Okay. Take a calculator, and again, you can choose any radius you want. Doesn't matter because you're doing it to both. It's just going to work out anyway. Times 4 equals 25.12. All right, now your new one, I keep forgetting to put colons. Your new one is going to be whatever the radius is quadrupled. So you're going to make it 4 times as big. So now instead of the radius being 4, it's going to be 16, right? 4 times 4. So circumference with the radius is now 16. So 2 times 3.14 times 16. Punch it on the calculator. Times 3.14 times 2 is 100.48. Now, even though it's in decimals, you can still simplify. And 9 times out of 10, this number is going to be divisible in this number. So that's what I always like check by. Let me go ahead and I want to make this 1. Okay, so I want to divide it by 25.12. I'm going to divide the side because I did it to that side by 25.12. 25.12. You see, you still get 4 and 1. If you don't want to deal with the decimals, oops, my bad. If you don't want to deal with the decimals over here, don't put 3.14. Go ahead and put pi. Leave pi in the problem. Then you won't deal with decimals because obviously pi is the one that brings in the decimals. So you'll have 2 times the 16, which is 32 pi, equals, colon, 2 times 4, which is 8 pi. Divide both sides by 8. Because again, I'm just trying to simplify everything. Oh, I guess I could have divided by let me divide both sides by 8 pi actually. So I can get rid of all of it. That's going to be 1. This going to cancel with that. Then you do 32 divided by 8 is 4. So you see, you still end up with that same answer. So several ways of doing it. Again, pick the one that you like the best. I know that probably was a little bit confusing. So let me go ahead and do another example. This figure is below similar. Find the label side. So the ratio of the area to the smaller square to the larger. So we're dealing with area. And remember when we were dealing with area, it was A over B. This is the side, so 4 over 7, but you're going to square it because it's area, and that's going to give you area 1 over area 2. Okay, so they give you the sides as 4 and 7, so 4 over 7 squared is equal to A1 over A2. So if I go ahead and square it, 4 squared is 16, 7 squared is 49, is going to be A1 over A2. What are they asking for? They're just telling you to write down the ratio from the smaller square to the larger. So smaller comes first. So smaller is at 16. So the ratio is really 16 to 49. And just check to make sure you can't simplify that. So is anything that goes into 49 that goes into 16? No. So that's your final answer. Again, if I'm going too fast, go ahead and rewind it. Watch it again until you understand it. Once you know or understand this, anytime they're asking for area, you square it. If they're asking for volume, you cube it. If it's perimeter, it's just regular. Most of these questions are simple. When you get to questions where they're telling you to double the sides or quadruple the sides, just pick a number and quadruple and follow the instructions that they give you. I'll do a couple more examples just to make sure you get it. All right, so here's another example. It says that below, find the area, or there are the areas given, what's the length? All right, so remember anything that is to do with area, you compare side to side, and because it's area, this you see right here, it has squared, you're going to square it. Is equal to A1 over A2, so 4 over 36. Okay. Let's go ahead and, well, there are a couple of things you could do. Well, we'll just leave it like this. And the question is, they're asking you for the ratio of the length of the smaller hexagon to the larger. So they're really asking you if this was A and this is B, what's that ratio? All right, so we really need to find out what these numbers are. What squared is going to give you 4? What squared is going to give you 36? That's really what they're asking. Well, you already know that because I asked you that just now. But really what they're asking you to do is take the opposite of squared so we can get rid of. But remember, if you do it to one side, you're going to do it to the other. So if I square root it so I can get rid of that, I have to square root this side, right? So if I square root this, this is going to cancel. I'm just going to have A over B equals square root of 4 is 2. You just punch in the calculator. 36, square root of 36 is 6. Now make sure, because if you put your answer like this in Excel, you're going to get it wrong. You always have to simplify it. So divide by 2 is 1, divide by 2 is 3. So your ratio is the smaller one is 1 and the larger one is 3. All right, let's do one more example. The figures below are similar. The ratio of the triangle's perimeters. Now remember, if it's perimeters, just regular. 8 to 7, what is U? Okay, the ratio is 8 to 7. So you put A1 over A2, so side to side, side to side. So this side is 8, this side is U, equals the perimeters, 8 to 7. So 8 to 7. Because it's perimeter, you don't square it, you don't cube it, it's just what it is. So you just cross multiply. 7 times 8 is going to give you 56, equals 8 times U. Go ahead and solve for U, so divide by 8. And 56 divided by 8 is going to give you 7. So U is 7. It's just real simple because it's perimeter. So again, perimeter stays the same. Area, you're going to square it. Volume, you're going to cube it. Oh, it does seem like I have one more example here, so I'll go ahead and do that too. All right, so if a square side are tripled, how much will the area compare to the old area? Remember, there's different ways of doing it. I think I'm going to do it by numbers on this one because I think that's what you find easier. What is the formula for area of a square? So get your reference sheet. A square is not listed, but you know it's a parallelogram, so area is base times height. So area is equal to base times height. Okay, now let's find out the order they want. They want new to old. So you're going to go new to old. And remember, area is base times height. All right, start off with, do you want me to do algebra? No, I'll start with making up a number. Make up a number, doesn't matter. All right, let's pick base. And because it's a square, right, aren't they the same? So if base is 2, height is also 2. All right, so let's find the area when that happens. Area is equal to base times height, so 2 times 2 is 4. All right, the new one, we're going to have to do something to it first. So it says if a square side's lengths are tripled, okay? And tripled means you're going to multiply them by 3. So h before was 2, but now you're going to multiply it by 3 because you're tripling it, and that's going to give you 6. Same thing to base. You're going to triple it, it's going to give you 6. Now the new area is base times height, so base times height is going to be 12. And now you simplify. So what goes into 4 and 12? Well, 4 goes into 4 one time and into 12 3 times. So your ratio is 3 to 1. So if you're putting it here, your ratio is 3 to 1. Okay. If you're going to do it without numbers, you can. All right. So your old area is base times height. Your new one, you're going to triple. So you're going to triple the base, right? Because the side lengths. You're going to triple the base, and you're also going to triple the height. You're going to multiply them by 3. Let's go ahead and simplify it. 3 times b times 3 times h. So 3 times 3 is 9. I don't know why I almost said 6. 9, and then b times h, bh. Go ahead and simplify. I'm sorry, I did that wrong.